We'll call this City Council meeting of March 14th to order. Would you call the roll, please, ma'am?
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Shivers. Briggs.
Yes.
First item is approval of minutes of February 28th. Regular session, 14, yeah, 14. I knew when I was reading this on here, that I was reading it wrong, 14.
Marcy, do you need on number the 14th, right?
Yes.
Do you need to, did I have the right sheet here?
I did not correct the topic.
Okay, that answers the question. Should I correct that if we approve
can.
minutes? Okay. I move we approve the minutes of February 14th.
Second.
Please.
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Need to bring in Dr. Shivers. Good evening, man. Next item on the agenda is the ordinance bill number 2022-14, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a state block grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation Commission for the design of runway 6, displaced threshold runway 6/24, edge lighting replacement, and pavement repair at the Mexico Memorial Airport. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. Each year, the city does receive some funding from the state through the state block grant agreements that to do capital projects at the airport, and that's all laid out as far as the airport layout plan. The project that has now that we're able to start working on is, the runway 6 and the threshold issues, which basically means just setting the threshold back, which opens up airspace off the end of the runway, is the best way, I think, to say that. To cover the details of this, Russell Runch.
As Bruce mentioned, every year we receive an allocation of $150,000 for our size airport. We're allowed to accumulate those funds and use them on capital projects. The displacement is kind of convoluted, but the distance of our runway is shortened, as Bruce mentioned, because of things being within those areas. Previously on the east side, there had been some old oil towers, as you guys might remember, that were removed. That displacement was put in place because of those, so it's a landing area safety issue. We're hoping to be able to eliminate that one since those towers aren't there any longer, and thus move the west side back out of the displacement so it doesn't need to be displaced, thus allowing us to be able to utilize that building that we have, that currently a portion of it is within that zone, that flight zone, safety zone. So if we can do that, then it makes the building more saleable in the future when we decide to sell it. There are several other projects, the lighting and pavement repairs, which is going to be something that's ongoing, provides us with $47,000 currently to do the engineering for this. The amount of the grant at 90, it'll be a 90-10, 10% being the city's match, and the city's match is not to exceed $5,300. This will cover this project. Staff recommends the council proceed with the reading by title only and passage of the attached ordinance, which has been posted.
Questions? It's a pleasure.
I move for first reading of bill number 2022-14.
Second.
Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2022-14, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute the state block grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation Commission for the design runway 6, displaced threshold runway 6/24, edge lighting replacement, and pavement repairs at the Mexico Memorial Airport. I move for second reading of bill number 2022-14.
Second. Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Shivers. Yes. Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2022-14, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute the state block grant agreement with the Missouri Department of Transportation Commission for the design runway 6 displaced threshold, runway 6/24, edge lighting replacement, and the pavement repairs at the Mexico Memorial Airport. I move for passage of bill number 2022-14.
Second. Miller.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig?
Yes.
Shivers?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item, resolutions, bill number 2022-15, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with various organizations for requested funds from the Mexico tourism tax. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, the Tourism Commission has met, and they do have some recommendations for funding some upcoming events in the community. And to cover the details, Roger Haynes.
Good evening, Council. The Mexico Tourism Commission met via Zoom on Thursday, March 3rd, and as part of that meeting, they reviewed two applications for tourism funding. The first one was from the Presser Performing Arts Center for their upcoming spring production called For Such As One As This. That will be a 3-day event, April 8th, 9th, and 10th, with 2 of those being evenings and 1 being a matinee. They requested funding in the amount of $3,000, and the commission recommends $1,500. There's a little bit of an explanation for that reduction on the amount requested versus the amount recommended. $3,000 is typically what has been provided for their fall-winter productions, which typically is a 2-weekend, 6-day event. And in the past, the 3-day events, kind of shown as the Easter production events, has been funded previously in the amount of $1,300 to $1,500 in the years of 17, 18, and 19. Of course, there was not an event in 20 due to COVID. The second request is from the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce. This is for additional promotion of the Mighty Mexmo app. This will be glossy cardstock that was made available through the hotels, motels, and businesses in town. It will also have a QR code for easy download of that app, which not only promotes the local businesses, but it does advertise all the touristy type events that we have in town, even some that aren't necessarily funded through the tourism fund. Staff recommends that council, and there again, the request was $400, and it was recommended $400 for funding. Staff recommends that council concur with the Mexico Tourism Commission's recommendation and proceed with read by title only and passage of the attached resolution. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Are they not seeing a response to the app? Are a lot of people not downloading it, or?
Well, it had, I guess, initially, a good response, and then there was another spike in response during the chamber event that was held approximately a month ago. And they want to get something out in this cardstock, again, to the businesses and the hotels, motels, and hopefully get more people just quickly downloading the app so that we can continue to promote the community.
Okay.
It's kind of a second effort to get more people to download it.
Roger?
Yes.
In this bill, the way it's written on the paper here, it says for requested funding from the Mexico Tourism. This is not quite their requested funding. Should that be amended? You see what I'm saying here? Bill number 2022-15.
Okay, what are you showing that they...
I'm just showing you the way the bill number, it reads.
Oh, okay, yes, that's correct.
Should it be like requested and amended, or is it okay with the way it reads?
I think...
Marcy?
They requested it, we just didn't agree to it.
Right.
But the tourism,
We're not amending anything.
we're accepting what the tourism people told us.
Recommended as to be approved.
So should that say recommended funding, or I'm just saying, to be correct, it's not their requested amount as far as Pressure Hall, it's our recommended amount.
Recommended funding.
Well, we've done that in the past. People have requested a certain amount, and we've given them less. I don't
You're
know.
only amending something if you gave them something to begin
Yeah, we
with.
haven't.
We haven't given them anything to begin with.
Yeah, I think we keep it as we have in the past. I'll do further study on that.
I move for bill number 2022-15 for reading.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes. Bill number 2022-15, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute agreements with various organizations for requested and then amended funding from the Mexico tourism tax. I move for passage.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig.
Yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Bill number 2022-16, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign contract documents with Parking Lot Maintenance LLC for the 2022 crack and joint seal project. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, as part of our annual and ongoing street maintenance program, this is one of our first projects as far as the joint sealing on the streets, and to cover the bids that we've received, our assistant engineer, Drew Wilford.
Good evening, council. Well, this is the third year of conducting contracted crack and joint sealing. Parking lot maintenance has actually worked for the city before. They won the very first year that we bid out crack and joint sealing work. And they are the low bid again. With each of these bid openings, I'm always surprised at the wide variety of bids that we see. And in this case, it is true again. There's quite a range when you look at low to high. Engineering does look into this from year to year. And again, in this year, it does boil down to the equipment used, the setup of the contractor. There's other factors that come into play, but they're very, very similar to prior years where you most likely have seen a wide variety. In this particular advertisement, we posted in the Mexico Ledger on February 5th. We also sent it out to a list of potential bidders, which we keep on file with the engineering office. And we did receive 4 bids back, again with parking lot maintenance being the low bidder. The work for this year is planned actually to be somewhat in conjunction with the chip sealing and the other projects that we're doing. And so some of this work is now going to be targeted in the northwest area of town, and then a portion of it near the Singleton Maintenance Building. And the engineer's estimate for this work was just slightly below $33,000, so this does come in under the estimate. And so at this time, we do have the budget to proceed, and we would recommend proceeding with reading and passage of the attached resolution. If you have any questions, more than happy to answer.
Are they, so I don't know, Kenzie remembers or not, we were not happy with them the first year. When they did, whoever did the first year, I don't, because I remember, because they did over throughout this part of town. And so the next year we did somebody else because I want to say you said they used a thicker material or they did something different, the next company that we
I
used.
think that was the micro seal you were looking at, where this is the
Yeah,
joint
micro seal
seal.
went on top of the crack seal. The crack seal, because it was, I remember it was coming apart in places and everything, because I bought it up. That's why I remember, and it was the first year we did it.
The first year that we did the crack and joint seal project was actually down in the Birdland area. We covered most of the concrete streets, Summer Ridge, Quail Hill, all those through there. The project you're referring to, I think, used the Onyx product, if I'm understanding correctly. Is that the one where essentially it started showing the street underneath it very quickly after application, and then the street looked splotchy, black, and then you'd see the old oxidized pavement underneath it.
Yeah, it
So
was
it made the
cracked.
street.
Yeah, it was really ugly.
This is a different process, different product. That particular process is covering the whole street. This is just targeting the cracks in the joints. So you'll, down in the Birdland area is a good example, you'll see 3-inch wide black stripes down the concrete pavement, and that's what this is doing. It's sealing those. We've had pretty good performance with it. I was talking with our street superintendent the other day, and they were out patching in that area. They had to remove a concrete slab in that area, and out with it came some of that crack and joint seal, the same one that they will be using on this project, and it was holding very well for being
I'm just making sure because the price, the bid difference is so much. I just wonder if we're getting the same quality of workmanship in the process.
Yep. There's nothing thus far with their work from 2020, which is concerning here, I guess. 2020, yeah, around that time period, which would be concerning for moving forward with it. And we do have a construction inspector, most likely be out on site whenever they are applying it. One of the key issues with crack and joint sealing is making sure that everything is cleaned out well in advance before the crack sealer enters your joint or your crack, otherwise it will come out.
Okay.
More questions? Pleasure.
I move for reading of bill number 2022-16.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Bill number 2022-16, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign contract documents with Parking Lot Maintenance LLC for the 2022 Crack and Joint Seal Project. I move for passage of bill number 2022-16.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Next item are appointments to the Mexico Park Board. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. Albert Joe Long was appointed to the Park Board for a term that was to expire in June of '24. He has recently resigned due to job change and so on. And we did receive an additional application from Janice McIntosh expressing interest. And so with that, it's a city manager appointment. So I would appoint Janice McIntosh to the unexpired term to expire June of '24. And I would ask that council do a motion that would concur with that recommended appointment.
I move we concur with the appointment of Janice McIntosh by the city manager to the Mexico Park Board.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Haig,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.
Next item is employee wage rates. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. This agenda item concerns employee pay rates and current market factors that are affecting the recruitment and retention of employees. And it is certainly important that we have what we need as far as staff levels and deliver the services, basic services to the citizens. The city has authorized 85 full-time positions, and currently, and which is a change from the memorandum that I have provided to you, we now have 8 full-time positions open and 3 pending retirements. And what I'm saying by the 3 pending retirements is those are the retirements that we have letters on indicating when they are retiring, a date of when they're going to leave. And then upon discussions with department directors, we feel or believe we've heard from those that there's possibly 2 more additional upcoming vacancies. So with current staffing levels down 13% and going to 15%, it's very difficult to maintain operations and meet basic needs. The employees that have resigned have indicated most readily that the reason of leaving is better service, better pay for the jobs they're going to. Filling the vacancies have been very difficult, and when we have made employment offers, the individuals have declined in most cases due to the rate of pay being too low. And we have identified that this is a problem over all departments and various positions throughout our organization. Many of our local employers in surrounding cities have recently increased their rates of pay, which has added to the city's hiring difficulties. Communities within our geographic area they're raising again in April 1 timeframe here, so they're doing the same thing now. Some employers are offering signing bonuses, which the city legally can't, and You don't have to go very far from watching TV at night or looking at newspaper ads or whatever else and note the starting salaries and bonuses that they're paying, and so the advertisements are out all over in regards to this is what's going on. In looking at it a little further with workforce data from the state of Missouri, the average salaries in general have gone up 9.2 to 10% in the last year. So not only is it an issue that we see locally, we see it statewide, but we also see it beyond the state too, and more than just the state of Missouri. Mexico does have 3 pay classification pay schedules. Schedule A is, which represents the general hourly employees. Schedule B, which represents the public safety officers, the ones on an hourly basis. And then Schedule C is the salary exempt position employees of the city. With the additional research and finding, we have found overall that we are lower than our comparable city peer group as well as the geographic market. Therefore, I'm recommending that the pay range schedules be overhauled immediately with pay adjustments in order to attempt to keep pace at least with and address the current market conditions as well as trying to maintain our fiscal stability as well. So how are we going to do this? What I have recommended here is that we update all 3 position classification and pay range schedules with pay adjustments for all employees as follows. For Schedule A, the general hourly employees. All grades would remain the same, so whatever position is in whatever grade would stay there. We would eliminate steps 1 and 2 that are currently on the schedule, and steps 3 through 11 then would be numbered 1 through 9, and we would add a new step 10 and 11. And the step 10 and 11 would be at 2% above the one below them, so in essence, we'd be adding 4% to the scale as well. All employees then would remain at their current pay grade and then their current step. So therefore, everyone would be moved up then based on the new schedule, and that would be roughly an estimated 6% increase on each of those, or depending on where you're at on the grade, what that would be. Schedule B, which would be for the public safety officers, we take the generally same approach, which would eliminate steps 1 and 2, renumber 3 through 11, and again add a new 10 and 11, and again at a rate of 2% each above the step below them. All employees again would remain at their current pay grade and step, but would receive the new rate of pay as assigned, and again that would be roughly 6%. And then the grade, which is listed on the schedule for the probationary officers, would be readjusted to a starting salary of $34,320 on an annual basis. On the exempt employee, the grades would all remain the same. However, the minimum and maximum rates would increase 4%, which is the same 4% on all scales. But on this level, employees on this schedule would receive a 3% versus the 6% on the lower hourly rates, because we feel that's where the more pressure is needed at this point. The new pay schedules and rates pay would go into effect on the new full pay period if you would select this. And I think the biggest thing and the big question always is well, how are we going to pay for this? And as I've looked at this, the expenses associated with making these pay adjustments during the fiscal year would be paid for currently from the money we haven't spent already this year. And I've had Roger go through and pull some numbers for us, and just in the payroll, just in salaries, wages alone, we are haven't spent, which we should have, if we would have been a full schedule, would have spent about $71,000 more on this year. And benefits, just even in health insurance, would have been another $64,000.
You have copies of that for us?
Sure, we can get copies. And Roger, can you, or you can take these, and do you have it, or I can?
I think I have.
Okay. The cost to do this for the rest of the year we've estimated about $95,000. So we're already looking at the savings and saying we already have the savings in this year's budget to make this happen. So it wouldn't take a budget amendment at this point as well to make this happen.
So the 95,000 would cover if we filled all the positions?
If we make this pay adjustment and we don't, and even if we didn't fill, we still got the money. If we do fill, we still got the money.
So next year, then you'll have to make some.
Next year, we'll have to make some adjustments, but as we've watched the sales tax and numbers, and our loggers numbers going down 1%, and our work comp numbers going down, we're feeling better about the future as we look at this as far as sustainability than we have previously.
So you're saying we've saved $134,000 so far?
That's just out of salary and health insurances.
And then with our public safety, I know that that's been a big issue for us. Will that make us a little more comparable or competitive with our neighbors?
I would give it as saying we're more comparable. Could we do better? Yes. But, we did increase in October, and if we do this increase now, we'll also look at the next budget year as well. So in order to maintain fiscal stability, I feel we should do it incrementally as well, and not try to be able to correct all at once. And
Where's the majority of our vacancies?
the majority is public safety. Yeah. And namely because we had two more of those just at the end of last week.
And they left because of,
Salaries.
for that reason.
Yeah, mostly. One of them, I believe, and I hate to give names, but I think one of them's going to Moberly and another one's going more towards the St. Louis area.
So there's nothing we can do to help out public safety? I mean, because that seems to be the area we keep consistently losing, and that's an area that we can't afford to be losing.
Well,
And it's our biggest department, which obviously there's always more turnover there. When I
Right.
look at our other numbers, we're dealing with the same issues there. Because when I'm missing 2 in the streets right now. When you miss 2 out of 8, that's a big number. So, proportionally, it's running about the same.
well, there's more than pay going on.
Across the board, I
For
know
example, people are leaving our police department and going to work for the sheriff, and the sheriff pays less. So why? I don't know. We get told as pay, they're not making more at the sheriff's department. So
Sometimes they'll tell you-
there's other things there at play.
Sometimes
Also on
they'll tell
this-
you from the sheriff's department it's about the drive-home car, or the more freedom that they have.
And then this wage that I've been presented for general hourly, this isn't right. You couldn't legally be paying these people $9.74 an hour. Legally, they have to make $11.15.
And you'll see a
So,
footnote at the bottom of that those first 3, they're called vacant now, because with the proposition minimum wage, we no longer use many of those in those first 3 brackets. That's why they have them vacant now. You might utilize them potentially at your mid-range on, possibly for part-time employment.
so my big thing is, I can't make a decision without more information. Because, when I read this, it's, well, we're going to get rid of step 1 and step 2, but you already don't use step 1 and step 2 in some of these, because you're saying they're vacant, and they wouldn't
don't.
even legally be allowed to make that much money.
No, we
So-
don't use grades A, B, and C. We use the steps. So starting from D down, we do use those.
Right, so what would those people be making per
So
hour?
if you go to the revised schedule behind that, as an example, and look at, let's take, if you want to take the first step, let's look at, that we do have people in, which is in grade D. It would go from the $12 to $12.93.
So it's a 93-cent raise.
Correct.
Okay. That's step 1.
Correct.
Right.
I agree that some of these lower pays fine, but you guys wanting across the board, I don't feel comfortable without more information. I went and looked, and you tell me that there's other communities doing this. I couldn't find anything on the internet of any community doing this yet. Not to say that they're not planning to, not to say that they aren't going to. But we would be like the first one in our area. There's some around St. Louis I found, but we're not competing with St. Louis. Like to
Centralia's
say-
going up exactly the same time we are to 39.1.
They haven't had a
Hannibal,
meeting to do it yet, at least down the line.
as far as I know, it's been approved from what their city managers told me.
Okay. So
And
I
I've seen
really
the same
need,
thing with Hannibal, and so,
I need some better numbers to look at. I need some comparisons. I need some total costs. I need to look at how far, yes, I understand this year we're saving the money to pay it, but going forward, how are we going to pay for this? What are we, I understand we're saying, well, this year we're making more money in sales tax. That's not a guarantee. This is the first year we've even had use tax. So we don't know. You can't guarantee that's going to be what we're going to continue to get off the first year. Where are these people going locally that are making that much more money? Are we trying to compare with Chance, or are we trying to compare with Spartan? We're never going to compare with Chance. Like, if that's what we're trying to do, then that's just nothing.
Yeah, I think some of them, didn't you say like Dollar General and
you
some
can
of
see the advertisement on Dollar General right now. It starts at $18.50 to $21.50 an hour and a $1,000 signing bonus. You can look in the paper right now and exactly see, what is it, Woodworks or whatever. I can tell you exactly right now that, Spartan or True starts at $20 an hour. I mean,
In other words, you're saying this is kind of a really pressure item, and it's something we really need to do
it's
quickly.
either that or we'll have to cut back services.
Yeah. Have we lost a public safety officer to Centralia?
Not in the last round.
Not in the last round. You have before.
We lost public works people to Centralia and Hallsville, and one that almost went to Vandalia but decided not to. We're down 4 people in public works.
And those are all smaller towns than we are.
There may be other, to me, this is a step. I'm not sure it's a big enough step, but talking about funding next year, we may have to give up some other things in order to keep our services, to keep our people. I mean, I had the same problem. I have 90 employees, and we have to fight. We gave across the board $1 an hour raise to everybody that worked for us, just so that we could begin to stay in the line with everybody else. And I'm not sure we're there, but that didn't have anything to do with we're talking about incremental raises here. We allowed our people to have their incremental annual raise plus $1 an hour across the board. So,
It doesn't matter where you're going, you can go.
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean, we could split hairs on where people are going, but if you want to go somewhere, you can go somewhere and make more money.
It is
Right.
an employee's market right now.
And it's so, I mean, and how much we sit here, and I get it, it's more out of the budget now, and I think we're fiscally conservative with it, and I think it's there. It's just, how much money is it costing us when people do quit and we have to retrain, or we don't have those services? A lot. And then, and that's what people don't understand. It is a service, and sad thing is, everything in America is going up, and our costs go up as well. We're not immune to it, so we don't get more for less. I mean, we're still fighting that battle just like everybody else is. So I'm kind of with the mayor here. I think this is a step, but I just don't know if it's enough. I mean, I think this is something that we're really going to have to look hard at, and I think the public safety side, as I kind of looked at these numbers, especially on the public safety side, of probably, what they have to deal with from that is, I was kind of a little bit taken back by that, and I think it's just we probably need to really take a hard look at as we probably get into the next budget session of this next year.
I agree, public safety has a lot to deal with, but let's look at the street department in the last 30 days, what they've had to deal with. Cold, snow, cold hours. So, yeah.
And they're short
all-
people.
Yeah, and I'm all for public safety, but I'm also all for the street department, also for the sewer department. They all have challenges over a year's period of time that require us to keep them on staff somehow.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
we can't buy the cow, we just gotta.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I agree 100%. I'm just talking about just kind of some of the danger that, I mean, you
I
know.
understand.
If I may add, just as you mentioned that about turnover, there is certainly a cost of turnover. Where I'm really concerned is a lot of our jobs are a little bit risky because they're working in right-of-ways, and whether it be public safety, wastewater, or streets, and that turns into potential work comp claims. We've done a very nice job of managing our work comp claims over the last 2 years. We got our work comp renewal just about, the last claims. And our work comp's about $50,000 under what we budgeted because we had a post out a pretty successful year as far back. Turnover statistically will cause that injuries to be more and could be substantial. So we have that savings that I know of. The other thing that has occurred since we budgeted last year is we were thinking we were going to make maybe 0.0015% on our money that we invest. Well, now it's more likely to be in that 0.8 to 1%, which is a significant increase in our revenue stream from interest earnings.
Well, as you said, as Bruce, you said, we did something in October. If we do something now in October, we have our new year come in, we're at least attempting to keep going forward in a more faster pace than we've been going for the last several years, which is a good deal, I think.
It's incremental, that's all I can say.
Yeah, so-
We just try to take a step forward.
Have we looked at other, I guess one of the big things is when we compare jobs, are we pushing the benefits? I mean, you're not going, I hear people talk about Dollar General, Spartan. They're not able to retire in 20 years with a pension. Pensions don't exist in these businesses anymore. Government's the only place you're getting a pension anymore because private businesses can't afford it. The insurance, most businesses don't pay that big a percentage of family insurance. Are we pushing those things and saying, hey, I know you could make $1 more an hour over there, but we live in a society today, they want instant gratification. They do. They want instant. So are those things that we maybe look at, going forward and say, well, if that's not a selling point, can we offer a difference? Can we say, hey, if you don't want a pension, we'll give you $1 more an hour. If you don't want to do the insurance, we'll give you $1 more an hour. If people are that concerned with making more per hour than they are with benefits, because that was always the deal with public service. The deal's always been that you don't make as much money, but your benefits far outweigh what you'd make in the private sector. But now we're in a position where the benefits, these people don't care. They don't care about the benefits. So do we try and do everything for everybody? Just something to look at in the future. I mean, it's not today, obviously, but, do I think giving somebody a 93-cent raise is going to make a big difference if they can go make $2 somewhere else? No. But do they realize that they're getting a pension and they can retire in 20 years? They're not doing that at Dollar General. Yeah, they're making more money per hour. That's great. But they're also in a 401k, which could be worth more, it could be worth less. They're not guaranteed their salary for the rest of their life, in 20 years.
We do not have an option on the pension. It's under state statute. You have to offer it for all full-time employees. As you may know, on the health insurance, if you work 32 hours or more, you have to offer the health insurance.
To them, yeah, I'm talking about the family insurance. Like Dollar General doesn't offer anything, neither does Champs. They offer nothing.
But to say we could reduce.
Oh, well, I didn't know about the.
A higher wage or.
Yeah, I didn't know about
They don't have that choice.
Yeah, I didn't know about the pension.
I just wanted to-
But I'm just saying there's other things we can look at because those are things that are supposed to be sellable to work in the public sector that aren't available in the private sector. So, just things to
Can
look
we
at.
retire from here in 20 years of pension? I say, yeah, I'm only 73, maybe I could get 20 more years in.
Isn't it
I'd be 93
isn't it
then.
20 years for pension?
Well, you have to have 5 years, but you cannot retire before the age of 60 without reducing the benefit, and with public safety before the age of 55 without reducing the benefit. Looks similar like what Social Security does. You take it early, you take a reduced benefit.
That's still 55 and 60 is
Generally, the rule of 80, years of service and your age to equal 80 is a general rule.
80 and out.
Well, it's your all's pleasure. You make a motion or pass.
I move that we pass, a motion to pass this generally hourly, or this increase in our city employees' salaries as presented to us by Mr. Schlegel.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
No.
Haig?
Yes.
Shivers?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is payment of the claims.
Oh, we pay the bills.
Second.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Haig?
Yes.
Shivers?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Next item are council comments, and we'll begin with you, Mr. Haig.
Downtown, the markers on the signs, they look good. The local signs that are up there, I like those. I drive my bus down one of the downtown streets, so I get to see those daily, and it makes it look nice. Congratulations to the basketball team. It's hard because the only one team gets to be happy at the end of the year. That's the team that wins it all. So, but historic season. I heard today. Well, I went up there and I usually take score, but the Quiz Bowl I think won it this weekend at our own tournament. So, good for them, and that's an exciting event. If you ever get an opportunity to help with that, it's a lot of fun to go up there. And I recommend don't be a reader if you've ever read any of that stuff. It's way beyond me when you start talking about some of those words you have to pronounce. But the kids understand it, and they did well for Mexico, so good job for them. That's all I have.
Mr. Williams?
I just want to say, I'm not against giving people raises. My whole thing was, I think targeted raises probably would have been better. It's a lot easier to somebody making $12 an hour to say, I'm going to give you 6% and getting that versus somebody that's making $75,000 and saying, I'm going to give you 6%. I do agree that our low end of our scale could even use more than what we're doing right now. I agree with that 100%. It's just the high scale, when we just go across the board like that, I just wasn't comfortable. But as far as the lower wages, if you guys want to look at even more with that, I'm all for that. I mean, because I look at some of these numbers and, yeah, I'm paying at McDonald's, what some of these low wage people are making. So I don't have a problem with that. It's just across the board and not really having all this information in front of me to begin with. So that, and then the Quiz Bowl, yes, they won. And I don't usually say anything, but my son actually was the top individual in the Quiz Bowl. Won first place, and the team won first place, so proud of them. That's it.
Mrs. Briggs?
Oh, well, I'm pleased to see we're fixing the elevator tomorrow, and I know it's going to be kind of a burden on people that need steps, like me, and for a little while, but anyway, I don't know, how long is it going to take to get it fixed?
If I understand it right, Rita, correct me, but tomorrow we're going to be down to do some preliminary work, and then like any remodel, they're going to disappear for a couple of weeks, so then come back.
Okay.
And then it'll be down for like 2 or 3 weeks when they come back.
Well, anyway, I'm glad to see that we're doing that, and I also noticed that I've been looking all over for flowers to come up, and I finally see some crocus out here in front of the city hall, so spring is on its way, as much as it seems like it's not, but it is. So,
Well, congratulations. I think everybody They said to the Bulldogs, to the Quiz Bowl, everything seems to be going. I luckily missed all the snow this weekend. I was out of town, but it's great coming back to see all white. Hopefully we'll see spring sooner than later. That's it.
Mr. Slagle?
I have nothing else this time, Your Honor.
Well, ditto. I'm done. You all said it all and did a good job. At this time, we'll take public comments. If you'd like to make a public comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and try to hold your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing nobody coming forward, I move we adjourn. Second.
Miller,
Yes?
Williams.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Shivers.
Yes.
Briggs.
Yes.